Welcome back. Today we'll be focusing again on maximizing revenue within sports. The focus of today will be on tickets and strategies to build ticket options that appeal to a wide audience of fans. Before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about why ticket revenue is so important. Ticket sales increase the other sports revenue streams that we've discussed earlier. This includes sponsorships, concessions, media deals, parking, and merchandising. Let's just take a look at a graph from this previous year. As you can see in our latest year, 2019, gate revenue or tickets was over $20 billion. That drives sponsorship, media rights, and merchandising as fans, as well as businesses want to be part of the action. The more people you have coming to a sporting event, the greater your audience is, not only in the arena or stadium, but also on TV, radio, and other streaming audiences. Here's some fun facts from the Timberwolves. This is 2018 data, as the latest season, was not compiled due to COVID-19. So we're looking at 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, the average attendance of all home games for the Minnesota Timberwolves were 14,175. Target Center can actually hold 18,356 fans. Let's look at the next stat. The average cost of a ticket for a home game for the Wolves in the past season was $37.27. If we do the multiplying, 14,000 by $37 roughly, we end up with just over $500,000 in ticket revenue, just from the ticket alone. However, if you do the other side of the math and subtract 18,000 from 14,000 and then multiply that number by $37, that means that they're missing out on over $150,000 of revenue every single game. Keep in mind, there's 41 home games in a regular season. So if you break it down by percentage, that means that 4,181 seats go unsold or do not have a butt in them. That's roughly 23%, or almost a quarter of the stadium. So keep in mind, as you're thinking, what's the solution? Remember, marketing can't solve what happens on the field, court, ice, diamond, etc. Instead, they need to examine their inventory. And when I say inventory, we're talking about tickets, and determine the best ways to put more butts in seats. This is where marketing comes in and people earn their money that are in this field. So where can you start? The first thing to do is look at what your fans can currently buy. Again, this is the inventory or types of tickets that are offered. Now, regardless of team or sport, this is what most venues will offer as far as their mix of tickets that appeal to different market segments. Season tickets, club seats, luxury suites, flex plans, and single game, all levels. Numbers 1 through 4 solve marketing problems because they are guaranteed revenue, which means individuals or businesses paid for these prior to the games. So again, if you can get fans, businesses, and wealthier people to buy some of those in numbers 1 through 4, you're going to solve a lot of your team's problems. Now, I've highlighted number 5, single game. This is what we refer to as the problem child. Perhaps you have a younger brother or older brother or sister that your mom and dad have labeled the problem child. What do you do with the problem child? It's a struggle. And that's what we're going to be looking at as far as single game tickets go. We'll talk more about that later. Here's the next step. Let's look at the data and then decide on marketing strategies to sell these tickets to those market segments. How do you do that? Well, here's how decisions are really made. Again, over on the left here, you have all of your different options as far as seating or ticket inventory. Here's a video that I'd like you to watch. Again, I'll put this slideshow out there. This takes into consideration how tickets get priced in today's markets. Obviously, most of our tickets are digital, and the reason for being digital is that it allows organizations such as the Timberwolves, the Twins, the St. Paul Saints, or whoever might be selling tickets to collect data on you. That data can be used to market to you in a better, more personalized way. Besides maximizing the pricing, data gets collected for 4 things. It identifies prospective past customers, determines trends that can identify potential growth market segments. It provides information to develop new ticket options that may be attractive, and it determines the amount of marketing needed to influence those prospective customers. Some considerations in all this is your platforms or your technology. How can we tell people about what we have to offer? Obviously, a website, social media, and then email blasts and mobile marketing are all tools of today's marketers. Ticket price is what they call dynamic. Our ticket prices are no longer fixed, they are flexible, and that's what dynamic pricing means. So as the demand gets higher, so too does the price. So if one person buys a ticket today at 10 o'clock and then there's a demand surge, that same ticket is now going to be sold at a higher price. Next, we're talking renewals. These are your season tickets on most cases. And usually this requires somebody follow up with those fans to renew for the next season. So in this case, we would be renewing for next year's plan. And then we also need to look at the communication that connects to the audience, when they want it, what they want to hear. Again, a lot of your social media platforms do a nice job of doing this. This ties back to the promotional elements that we looked at earlier this week as well as last. So where are we going with this? Later this week, you'll be kicking off our project for the St. Paul Saints. This is an actual real project. The Saints are going to evaluate and look at your work. So in preparation for it, we need you to look at various types of ticket options, promotions offered by the St. Paul Saints. There is a Google form that I'll explain on the next slide. This is to better help you understand their organization, their ticket offerings, their seating areas, and how they maximize their profit within these. Here is the Google form that you'll see. Again, I'll put a link on our Google Classroom to this. When you get in there and click on the link, it's going to have a little bit that we just mentioned. Read through that, remind yourself of what you're doing. To see all of their different ticket inventory, you'll simply go to their website, which is, again, it will be linked, and then you'll hover over tickets right here. When you hover over tickets, you'll see all of their different options, and there'll be a few questions just to make sure that you understand why they do some of the things that they do. We'll start here. Take a look at that, complete the Google form, and then we'll tell you more about the Mini Saints Challenge later this week. Thank you, and if you have questions, email me or come see me if this were a face-to-face class. Obviously, it's not, so email me.